Coronavirus cases, hospitalizations, and deaths are all falling, but a COVID variant is increasing in Wisconsin. As a new vaccine is due to arrive here, federal regulators approved Johnson & Johnson's new COVID-19 vaccine last weekend, and nearly 50,000 doses are expected in Wisconsin this week. The vaccine is a one-shot only and doesn't require that ultra-cold storage. So is this a game changer? We're asking the president and CEO of the Medical College of Wisconsin, Dr. John Raymond. Doctor, so good to see you and have you on the program this weekend. Let's start with Johnson & Johnson. How big of a deal is this in terms of the long ball game here? And have we seen the impacts in Wisconsin yet?
Thank you, Matt. Yes, I think the J&J vaccine is a game changer. It uses a little bit of an older technology with an established manufacturing base. So it's very likely that they can manufacture hundreds of millions of doses this year. And Johnson & Johnson is entering into a partnership with Merck to accelerate that manufacturing. And that's different than the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines that use newer technology, the messenger RNA technology. And it's safe, it's a really good technology, but there's not an established manufacturing base. But this will clearly accelerate the opportunities for everyone in the general population to get vaccinated very soon.
Yeah, let's talk about the million-dollar question I know you receive all the time. What's the latest estimate on when everyone in Wisconsin can get a vaccine who wants a vaccine?
Well, I'll just start with saying that the limiting factor has been and continues to be the availability of doses. We have almost 2,000 certified vaccinators in every corner of the state and great capacity in our clinics to give the shots. What we need is more doses. So again, the J&J is going to help us. The Department of Health Services in Wisconsin estimated that if we had enough doses, we could easily vaccinate all willing adults by June. And that's very consistent with President Biden's estimate that every willing adult in the U.S. could be vaccinated by the end of May.
From what you're seeing across the state, is there any concern from your standpoint that the state wouldn't reach herd immunity, the herd immunity that's needed in terms of any type of resistance to the vaccine?
Yeah, I think the limiting factor, at least by the summer, isn't going to be the availability of vaccine. It's going to be confidence that people have in getting the vaccines, especially because they were developed on an accelerated timeline. What I'd like to say is, though, that we didn't cut any corners on safety. And now that the vaccines have been administered to many millions of people, I think 83 million doses in the U.S., and 28 million people have completed their course. The safety profiles of the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines are spectacular. So we really need to work on instilling confidence in people, especially those at high risk, which would be people in certain racial and demographic groups, folks in under-resourced rural and urban communities, and people with pre-existing conditions.
Let's talk about the variants, not only here in Wisconsin, but across the country. State health officials said this past week the UK variant has jumped from 6 to 19 cases. What do we know about the vaccines at this point? Are they protecting against the variants? And how big of a concern are these variants to the overall ball game here?
Well, let me start by saying the variants are a concern. It is natural for viruses to mutate. They try out new versions of themselves all the time to gain a competitive advantage. But the real concern about these new variants is that they might escape from the immunity that we get from a previous infection or from the vaccines. But what we know right now is that the vaccines that are being marketed in the U.S., the three, Moderna, Pfizer, and Johnson & Johnson, do give good protection from all of the known variants up to this point. Maybe not as good as it would against some of the older virus variants, but still very robust protection. So it's important, two things are important. One is people should get vaccinated as soon as they can. It really doesn't matter which vaccine they get. All three are quite good. And we need to continue to wear masks and socially distance until we achieve that herd immunity. And one of the main concerns, again, is the continuing variants that are going to be emerging over the next few months.
We mentioned off the top that cases, hospitalizations, and deaths are all down in the state. What can we attribute that to?
Well, that's really a good question. I think it's multifactorial. One of the ideas is the low-hanging fruit hypothesis. In other words, the people that were easier to infect, either because they had pre-existing health conditions or their behavior occupation predisposed them to infection, have already been infected. I think as people recognize the huge surge that we had here in Wisconsin in November and December, maybe they changed their behavior. But the cases are down, hospitalizations are down, and deaths are down. But I need to stress that where we are right now is where we were at the peak of the second surge. So we still have a high burden of disease in the state. So we can't let our guard down.
Dr. John Rainman, president of the Medical College of Wisconsin, we appreciate your expertise and your time. Good to see you like always.
Thanks so much, Matt.
Thank you. Next, the newest member of the Upfront family.